So, where's life at Paulie Boy? Well, it's right here. I haven't made a video for a while, so I think I'll do one today. I'm a bit cold, I haven't got the heater on in the van, so I've got my hoodie up. But it's all good. I've wanted to make videos, but I've had so many things, so many video ideas going around in my head that I can't really seem to sort of get them all in one place and bash them out like that. But here we go. I'm going to try starting with this one and see how we go. And in this video I just wanted to touch on a subject that's close to my heart because it concerns my mum. And my mother and I are very close, and she often turns up to chat to me. We have very differing opinions on politics and how the world works and, you know, all these different things. So she turns up and she'll say something, and I won't go at her, but I'll say, "Oh, Mum, do you know that for a fact?" And she'll say, "Oh, well, you know, I saw it on the news, or I saw it, you know, wherever, a friend told me," or something like that. And I'll say, "Mum, well, you know, you shouldn't really say that unless you know it for a fact." And we get into these little debates and these little things, and she'll put something out there and I'll counter, and she'll put something out and I'll counter all the time. And then it inevitably comes to the point where she kind of sits in silence and I go off on these little rants, and I'll chat away and I'll bring up all this evidence and stuff like that. And, you know, she'll say something like, "Oh, I haven't got time to watch this," or "Are there many people out there like you?" and all this sort of stuff. And I say, "Yeah, Mum, you know, there's loads of people out there." And she's retired, she doesn't work anymore. So when I suggest things for her to watch, you know, for example, a Joe Rogan interview, which is 3 hours long, you know, she says, "Oh, I can't," they start talking about this and they go off on these tangents, and I can't follow it. And this is going to be the subject of another video I'm going to make, but how we all sort of live in like really nice sound bitey, you know, 1 minute, 30 second, 10-second little sound bites, and you're expected to form an opinion off that, which I think is impossible, to be quite honest. So, you know, we're talking as we do, and Mum says, "Ah, Paul, one day I'll win one of these arguments against you," because inevitably she ends up, like I said, just kind of sitting in silence, and I go off ranting. And I thought one day when she left and I kind of drove off, and I thought, you know, I'm going to tell her it's not about winning or losing. In my mind, these sorts of these talks that we have, you could call them, they're more about the information that is disseminated within the conversation, right? You know, my mum sees it always as a winning or a losing sort of thing, and I don't like that. I am quite sort of egoless to a point where, you know, Mum will say, "What do you think of this? What do you think of the Ukraine?" And in all honesty, I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough. I'm not from the Ukraine. I don't know anything about the Ukraine. I didn't even know, you know, what language they speak, how much of the population is Russian, etc., 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 until this whole war kicked off. And then, you know, my mum's saying to me, "Well, what do you think about the Ukraine?" And my honest answer is, I don't know. I'm not afraid to say, I don't know, right? So, you know, and then, you know, she'll say, "Oh, well, Putin's bombing these people, and these people are all getting on the trains," and, you know, they may well be, but you don't know enough. People don't. This video, I want to say, is about saying I don't know. People nowadays, they are very fearful, I think, and opinionated, I guess, on subjects that they know very little about, or they've got their sort of entire knowledge base from 10-second, 30-second, 1 minute sound bites, especially on the news, you know, where you have the mainstream news, where you'll have, you know, some guest come on for 5 minutes and he'll give you the start, middle and end of, you know, the situation in the Ukraine in 5 minutes, and they'll say, "Oh, thanks a lot, such and such a person," and that's supposed to form your opinion. You later then find out, you know, he makes weapons that are being sent to the Ukraine or whatever, but you don't look into that because why would you? He's on the news, you trust the news, and he's just there. So with my mum, as much as I love her, because obviously she's my mother, and she's from a different generation, you know, where and she still does it to this day. You know, she wakes up, she goes downstairs, boom, news on, and it's just playing away in the background all the entire time, over the entire breakfast or whatever she's doing, you know, a bit of washing or whatever. And when it's on, you can't help but watch it, right? And you're sort of subliminally sort of taking things in without you even noticing, maybe, you know. So, yeah, I don't know should be a more widely used sentence, I feel, because to say I don't know means that you are sort of willing to accept information, right? If you just go on a huge diatribe and say, I know this and I know that and I know that, you're less open to information, right? Whereas if you say, I don't know, I'll take a look at it, give me an internet link, or give me a story, or give me this, and give me multiple sources of information, so the I don't know factor becomes less and less, right? But if you're just going to say, oh, I know everything about the Ukraine because I watched the news for an hour, that's such a one-sided thing that, you know, and we know, right, that the news is biased, right? It always has a bias. This is not sort of, it's nothing new. But I know my mother watches my channel, and she'll hear this. And it's not that I want to ever try to belittle her at all, with anything that I say, with any of my opinions or whatever, you know what I mean? And sometimes she may even get, you know, annoyed that I say, look, Mum, I can't even have this discussion with you because I just don't know. You know, let me have a look at it. And then she'll say, oh, have you looked at it? The next day she'll say, oh, have you looked at it? And I'll say, Mum, it's been 12 hours since I last saw you. You know, how can I possibly know the ins and outs and the workings of something as complex and as sort of in-depth as what's going on in the Ukraine? You can't possibly understand. I mean, that's just one example, right? The coronavirus could be another example. The elections in the US could be an example. You know, all these different things. You don't know anything. You see it on the news. It's up there in big shiny letters. You know, CNN reports this, and they always get their experts on, who are, again, like we know, biased. So, yeah, I think people should A, say I don't know a lot more, and B, not be afraid to say I don't know, because then you can by saying that, you're opening yourself up to you know, to speaking with other people. We all know that people who go around thinking they're king shit and they know everything are usually jerks, and they're usually wrong, you know. But it comes off as, oh, you know, I don't want to seem weak, I don't want to seem, you know, a bit limp or whatever like that. But to say I don't know shouldn't be lambasted or you know, looked down upon. It should be a light bulb moment, because it's your chance to learn something, look at something that you wouldn't have before. That's just how I feel. So that's just a quick video about saying I don't know, which I have found myself saying quite a lot recently. And people say, oh, what do you mean you don't know? You got opinions on everything else. Well, I can have an opinion on what I'm educated about, but I don't know everything. You can't know everything. So, you know, if I say I don't know, then that's just the honest truth. I don't know. You want to educate me? You want to take the time? Then we'll have a look. But you shouldn't be upset if I then look at something I've discussed with you, and then I come back and say, oh, remember you told me that thing, I've looked into it, and there's a counter side here, there's a counterpoint here, there's a counterpoint there. You shouldn't hold firm your beliefs so strongly that you're then going to shut up shop and say, well, fucking, I wish I'd never spoke to you about it now. I liked you better when you said I don't know. But, yeah, this is the thing. So, you know, I love my mother, and I hope she's tried to educate me for 35 years of my life. But now the world has changed, right? From her generation to my generation. She's in her 70s, I'm 40 years old. And the world has changed, right? We've got the internet, we've got multiple sources of news, information, discussion, topics, you know, all these sorts of things, because the world is so interconnected now that you simply didn't have in her time. And sometimes my mother, I feel, still lives in that world, which she would do because that's how she grew up. But yeah, I try to sort of fill in the blanks and change, not change her opinions, but just inform her as to what's going on without belittlement or embarrassment or anything like that. And that's my story at the moment. Haven't made a video for a while, like I said, and I've got many ideas about what to make. My van that I live in full time is now complete, so I'm going to do a van tour and maybe like a day in the life video, but these are just random 10-minute sort of little musings about things that have been floating around in my brain over the past couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be another one soon, different topic, and we'll go at it again. And that's where life's at. Take it easy, guys.